So I think protecting the globe and what being an AQHA World Champion means is something that Karen, Allison, myself, and all our staffs and committees really take seriously. And I think the association has done a good job of that over the years. And that AQHA World title still meaning something and wanting to honor that.
Bring them in on the rail, let it jog, please. On the rail, let it jog.
We are back with another On the Rail podcast today, and very excited to bring you the Team AQHA World Show National Show team. They call themselves the tri-chairman of the AQHA major shows. So excited to have all three of you guys here. Allison, Justin, and Karen, do you want to kind of just briefly introduce yourselves and what your role is there with AQHA?
Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Liz. First, I'd say it's an honor to be here with you and with your listeners. We're looking forward to a great discussion of all things AQHA and championship shows. My name is Justin Billings. I serve as the Chief Show Officer for the association. I'm what you would call a lifer with AQHA. It got bit by the bug when I was young, 12 years old, and I haven't looked back since. I would say I eat, breathe, and sleep all things horse related and AQHA related. So it's an honor to be here and to have the chance to talk more about the quarter horse and more specifically about our championship shows. And I'm looking forward to the discussion. So thank you.
Thank you, Jenna and Liz. This is Karen McQuistion. I'm excited to be here today as well. My official title is Senior Director of Member Programs with AQHA. That incorporates several programs like ranching and pro horsemen. I'm also currently serving as interim over the show department. I competed at my first horse show in 1971, and I was instantly hooked. I trained and showed professionally for over 40 years, and then judged with AQHA and several other associations for over 25 years before I began working for AQHA about 6 years ago. And I'm bleed AQHA through and through. I'm loyal to the industry, and I'm just excited for this opportunity to share what we do and what we try to accomplish with your listeners.
I'm Allison Bowen. I serve as the championship show manager for AQHA's championship events. I'm a project manager by trade, and so that's my professional background, but then also, grew up showing horses. I, funny enough, showed a Tennessee walking horse in 4-H. was my first horse, and then evolved into showing open shows with quarter horses as a youth and some smaller weekend shows, and still show today. I've got a Western all-arounder and have kind of been showing since. Like Justin and Karen, I think we all live, eat, breathe, sleep horses. And so we're excited to be here.
Cool. Do you guys want to touch on what your specific roles are individually at the shows?
We dub ourselves the tri-chairman, and we have quite the extensive group chat going between ourselves. And really, I would say, and Allison and Karen can expound on this, but we really lean on each other and bring different strengths to the table. And I would say Karen is the guru of all things, and as the head of our ranch program, and one that we rely heavily on for her cattle expertise. She's the go-to if there's a cattle-related question. She's, as described, a wealth of industry knowledge and history that you can lean on when we get into a tight spot. And I would say Allison's really the glue that holds the program together. She's very organized and one that helps us execute and make sure things are where they're supposed to be when they are supposed to be there. So I would say we each bring different attributes to the table and lean on each other, really to highlight those strengths and be an ear to vent to when we have challenges with the show itself. So I would say there's benefit in the three of us contributing to the table and to the show success itself in different areas.
I agree completely with what Justin said. We strengths, and we lean on each other for advice and information, particularly on the other's strengths. But at the same time, we have the same broad view and the same goals, and we work well together in trying to achieve those goals and putting our heads together in problem solving and making happen what needs to happen. The shows are so interesting. They're tedium, and yet we never know what to expect. And it happens all at the same time. And as a group, it's taken three of us, but I'm pretty proud of what we are accomplishing for our exhibitors. I mean, that's why we're here, and that's why we do this.
Yeah, and it's definitely more than just us too. Like we have the whole rest of the show department, and then the AQHA team that helps put everything together. So, from a sponsorship side and corporate partner side, there are so many pieces that go into the show. It takes all of us for sure. And so I'm lucky that I've been able to work with Justin and Karen the past couple of years to wrangle all of our championship show events, because it's not an easy task. It for sure takes us all.
So when you say the AQHA Championship Show event, so you're talking the level 1 championships and the Ranch Horse Championships, and then the Youth World and the Select and Open World. Am I missing anything there?
Those are the main ones. So level 1 East, AQHA produces. Level 1 West, we work in conjunction with Arizona Quarter Horse and Doug Holst and his team to produce level 1 West. It's really AQHA supporting Arizona Quarter Horse, and they own that event. They will again for 2023, like they did in 2022. They did a really good job with that. Versatility, Ranch Horse World Championships, Youth World, and Open Amateur World.
And I'd just like to add, the Versatility Ranch Horse Championship is really 4 championship events rolled into one. It's our AQHA Versatility Ranch Horse World Championship. We award 9 titles at that show. It's also the Level 1 Cattle Championship, the Ranching Heritage Challenge Finals, and the National Ranch and Stock Horse Association National Championship Show. So it's a 4-in-1 package that is 5 or 6 fun-filled days in the heat summer in Guthrie, Oklahoma.
Yeah, I can't imagine how much planning goes into that one, although I know they all take an immense amount of planning. And so before you ever even get to the actual show themselves, what's the planning like? How far in advance do you guys start planning all of these shows? What are all the things that you guys have to check off and make sure is taken care of that the average person may not even know or think about?
Yeah, it literally never stops. It's for sure year round between, getting the schedules put together, working with the facilities. I create the entry forms, make sure the awards are all ordered and correct and put together, coordinate all the exhibitor parties and the catering, and making sure we have staff hired. And then, I personally do not hire judges, ring stewards, or show stewards. That's Wayne Halverson and Sydney Reynolds. They head up all of our officials departments. So we're lucky to have them on that side, but decor, signage, all of the things that it's literally year round. And a lot of the times they're happening simultaneously. So, we'll have convention. There may or may not be changes that we need to make sure that we implement the following year. And so with the changes and decisions that, may happen or get passed at that time, making sure those are cared for along with all of our regular activities. It's really year round all the time and constant, but super rewarding when you get there. There is a lot of overlap too. So the shows that happen in the spring, they're one after the other, and then we get a little break before the World Show. So that break in there for the World Show is much needed with VRH and Youth World. They're right back to back. And so there's just lots happening across all the different departments at AQHA, especially within the show department too. So it's a lot. It never stops.
I'd reiterate on a couple points that Allison brought up, in that by definition, AQHA is an association. So it's ultimately made up by our membership. Any one of us that are members specifically related to shows in this case are really the drivers of many of the changes, enhancements that you see at our championship events and the weekend shows themselves. So there are committees, councils, from show to pro horsemen to judges, and the list goes on, of members themselves that donate their time, that lend their expertise in the industry in their particular area to the greater cause of AQHA, being an association of members. And a lot of the changes that you see are just that. They were initiatives that were brought forward through the committee council process at convention, meetings held throughout the year, that ideas are bounced back and forth of, hey, what's working well and what's maybe not working so well that could be changed. So a lot of the initiatives, a lot of the enhancements that you'll see here in a couple of weeks at the World Show came about just that way. Members themselves having a voice and being able to bring those thoughts and ideas forward and through the committee and council process, and then ultimately affecting change. Youth World was a fantastic example of that, in a young youth member in Sydney Sargent bringing forward the all-around proposal and the jackpot proposal that came through convention and then was enacted at this year's World Show. The stakes classes that we're going to talk about, those were member-driven initiatives that came forward of, hey, we think it could work well to add these additional classes to the World Show. They sent them through the committee process. They shared the points with the group and they bought in. And then here we are, we're going to be offering a new slate of stakes classes. So if I could hit on any point, I would say that the members truly do have a voice and can affect change for the association and see that change take effect. And then I'd say the second point I'd reiterate of what Allison shared is I didn't have an appreciation like I should have for show management until I saw it from the other side. So I would encourage you to, and I've done this myself, championship shows, weekend show management, secretaries and managers. Thank them for their service. And it's more than coming to a facility and hanging some banners and having a horse show. There are committees and volunteers that work year round to make the championship shows happen, to make our weekend shows happen. Individuals that serve tirelessly and give of their blood, sweat, and tears for those events to occur. So I would encourage, speaking to myself as well, but just to keep that in mind, that there's a lot behind the scenes that comes into making an event successful, with ideas flowing year round.
As the saying goes, it takes a village, and to put on a world show, I think it takes probably even more than just a village to get them done. Before we kind of dive into what's actually going to be happening here in the 2022 Open Amateur World Show, do you guys want to just kind of give us a little bit of a glimpse on what either you individually, what your any one given day during one of these world shows or championship shows looks like for you? Just kind of a quick rundown on how I'm sure insane your day is.
Yeah, sure. I don't want to speak for everyone here, but most of the time, us along with the rest of the staff there will arrive to the show at least an hour before, depending on, what classes we have that day. It might be earlier, just to make sure that the arena's prepped, everyone's there and ready to go. All of our exhibitors are there and ready to go. And then, help solve any early morning problems that may arise or issues that we may have. And then we all work together. Justin can touch on this more, but I think it's ingrained in all of us now. It's bad horse show juju and bad luck if horses are in the arena late. So the goal is always to get the first horse in the pen at least 1 to 2 minutes before the start time of the class. So all morning long, when we get there until the first horse is in the class or in the pen, we are just working so hard to make sure that everything's together and everybody's ready and comfortable, ready to get showing. And then during the day, we support our team and all of the staff there, the arena managers and announcers and the show office staff, and work to resolve any issues that may come up inside and outside the show pen. And then, of course, after we're done showing that day, then we're prepping for the next day. So, sometimes it makes for a late night and an early morning the next day, but preparation is key. So as long as we're doing our jobs and prepping, then we ought to have a smooth sailing, knock on wood, hopefully smooth sailing show day the next day.
I'd say Allison hit on my pet peeve, and that's to start the horse show late. So there is a lot of effort and coordinated effort to make sure that we start on time, just so that we set a good tone for the day. And I think that's important in our event and really any other event. And I would say in my role, my job is really to make sure that the pieces of the puzzle are fitting together correctly. and to step back and look at the overall event itself, and are we meeting the needs of our customers? Are the arenas ready on time? Are the vendors happy? Are they getting what they need to make sales and be successful? Are attending vets, do they have what they need? Really making sure that all the pieces of the puzzle are fitting together correctly, and supporting the individuals on our team on the AQHA side that are in charge specifically of those items, and making sure that they have what they need. So I would say my typical day is really stepping back and looking at the overall event and making sure that it's flowing right. I always make a point to meet with the stewards in the morning and, hey, how are things happening? What's the temperature at the back gate? Spend some time walking through the barns, where you can oftentimes get a really good read on the show itself, good or bad, on what's working and what's not working, and making sure that I'm out visible and accessible to the exhibitors, our customers, and that their needs are being met, and where they're not, that we're addressing them for them.
Allison, are you in charge of making sure there's food for everybody there, for the staff and the judges, or does that fall on somebody else?
No, that is yours truly. If people are not fed, that is the key. One of the keys to the horse show and keeping everyone happy is making sure that everyone has food and a place to stay. So, yes.
Well, and I'll expand on that a little bit, because Allison, it's not just a matter of Allison picking out a menu and then everyone eats what they eat and is happy about it. But Allison is also somehow become responsible for some special requests and special needs that especially at a long show like the World Show, when we're there, including setup days, we're there almost 30 days.
Wow.
And so Allison is very good at accommodating a few special requests on the side to make that lunchroom as pleasant as possible.
I'd say keeping the theme of food going, which you're going to notice is very important. Karen and I have a tradition. We will go to the sweet shop, get an Italian sub, and that will be our time to talk through whatever issues may be happening. So if you see us over at the sweet shop eating our sub, you will know that we are hard at work on solving an issue. So,
that's when you have your heart-to-heart talks about things. But
yeah,
it's important. Nobody wants to be hangry at a horse show, especially not the folks running the horse show. And we definitely don't want judges to be hangry while they're out there judging. So that's an important role.
That's right.
So we'll kind of dive into the upcoming 2022 World Show. I know there's probably some new programs or initiatives that you guys have been working on. So you want to tell us a little bit about what may be new at this year's World Show, what you're most excited about, and what we can be on the lookout for.
One of our exciting new classes is we will be holding an open breakaway roping stakes. And breakaway roping has been offered in amateur and youth basically since the beginning of AQHA, but it's never been offered in the open division. And as of January 1, 2023, it will be an open class available for points, qualifying points, and will be offered as a world championship next year. So as is done often with our new classes in recent years, it's offered this year as a stakes. We have quite a few entries in that, and it will be fun. There's a little twist on it. Breakaway right now in women's rodeo is very, very popular, but both our committee and our ranching committee have approved breakaway roping for AQHA and at the Ranching Heritage Challenges as an open class, male and female. There's no restrictions on it. Anyone can enter. So that one's exciting. We have added level 2 select classes, standalone classes in the core, which are Western pleasure, hunter under saddle, showmanship, horsemanship, equitation, ranch riding, and trail. In previous years, those level 2, the top 3 in each of those select classes have been identified and recognized, but it's never been a standalone class. So this is a much requested change, and we're really excited to be offering that this year. And then finally, another one that I'm very excited about is our Neutrino Level 1 Champion of Champions. Again, as Justin mentioned, these are all, so much of what we do is membership driven, and this came at the behest of members through convention. And so for those core classes, the same ones I mentioned, winners from Level 1 East, Level 1 West and the Cattle Level 1 Championship ranch riding classes were invited back and will be showing at this Level 1 Champion of Champions for the first time in history.
Do you know who will actually be there to compete in those? Or is it, I know who they have to have pre-qualifying requirements to enter those classes, but have they then had to pre-enter too? So you actually know how many is going to show up for each one of those champion of champion classes?
Yes, we sure do. The top 15 in each of those classes were invited back. So there would have been 30, except for ranch riding, there was the opportunity for 45 because we have the cattle one or the cattle level 1 championship there as well. And for this first time, I don't have the exact numbers, but we had turnout in all of those. It's going to be challenging. Of course, we did this at Youth World with the Level 1 Champion of Champions through the youth has already happened at Youth World Show. So this will be the amateur that will be offering this.
Is it broke up between selects and amateurs, or is it all one?
It's broken up by division.
Okay.
Yeah, for select and amateur. Yes, for sure. And we had a really, really great turnout at the Youth World, like Karen had mentioned. And then we still have a pretty good turnout for the amateur and select classes too. So yeah, it's exciting.
We've got those coming to the World Show for the first time. And then we also, you're going to pick up on a theme here of member-driven initiatives and ideas. And this is a big one. This came through committee. And one of our amateur members, Kelly Johnsrud, brought this forward actually a couple times. And it gained traction at this year's convention and past committee. It's the Level 1 horse non-pro horsemanship. So really a green type horse with a non-pro rider. And it's been offered, I believe Sun Circuit had it. I believe Texas Classic as well. So it's been offered as a non-official AQHA class, really to gauge the level of support at a few of our sanctioned shows. But it's now being offered as a stakes class at our World Show. And I want to say we have 36 entries in that, which was a great turnout in its first year. And something I know that group of amateurs is very much looking forward to. And I anticipate a lot like the Working Western Rail, the last handful of years that's been offered and had 50 in the range of 50 entries open into amateur, now becoming a weekend show class January 1. If this Level 1 horse non-pro horsemanship follows that same trajectory, I could very well see it becoming an approved class for the weekend show as well. So that's new this year. That'll be exciting to follow. We've got Level 1 Working Hunter, Level 1 Hunter Hack. So our over fence customers had been asking us for those classes. Some of our pro horsemen were saying, hey, we would bring an extra horse, of course, benefiting them and benefiting the show as well if we had these Level 1 Working Hunter and Hunter Hack opportunities. So those went through convention. Those have been added to the schedule as stakes classes. And then also a member request is the 3-year-old group of classes that we have. So we have 3-year-old open and non-pro pleasure and now Hunter Under Saddle classes. Each have sponsors very generously donating $5,000 to each of those. So you've got $20,000+ in added money opportunities for the 3-year-olds that have never had those specific classes offered for them at the World Show. So our immediate past president, Mr. Norm Luba, was a big driving force behind that and working with pro horsemen within the industry and helping garner support to launch those classes at this year's World Show. So lots of exciting opportunities, some classes, stakes classes that you haven't seen in years past that are debuting at this year's show.
Yeah. And then I'm here for all the fun exhibitor parties. No, I'm just kidding. But no, those are all awesome classes. But we are amping up the fun to try to always, we know that people spend their hard-earned money and their time coming to the show, and we want to give them a fun experience on top of the new classes. And so we've got 7 exhibitor parties this year. I think that's probably the most that we've had in a long time. My personal favorite is Halloween. It's my second favorite holiday. So we'll all be dressing up in our costumes for Halloween, do some kids trick-or-treating, and we have a variety of other events too. That's just a personal fave. And then thanks to some sponsors, Reed Thomas Performance Horses and Bud Lion Performance Horses. We've got some new awards for our world and reserve world champions in all of the divisions, which will be a commemorative world champion bottle of champagne. So we thought that would be fun to bring a little extra spice to our world champions and reserve world champion prizes there. So thanks to those guys for being willing to sponsor, and we're ready to have a good time and try to bring some fun to the horse show.
The champagne speaks to me. You had me at champagne. That's my favorite. So I'm there.
I thought I might. It'll be fun.
One thing I did want to kind of ask you guys was, it sounds like you use the stakes classes as a way to kind of get a feel for test the waters on the response for some of these new events. Is that kind of how you've handled them in the past, or will some things only stay as a stakes class?
Yeah, that's exactly how it works quite frequently. And what Working Western Rail was a great example of one that did not an approved class until it was repeatedly successful as a stakes class at the World Show. And then it just passed at convention this year and will be beginning January 1, 2023. So it's a perfect example of a class that needed that impetus and the success at the World Show to push it over the hump. It was much requested, but it just couldn't quite make it through convention on any given year until recently. And I think being the stakes class is pushed it over. Now the breakaway roping is a little bit the opposite. We're using it as the stakes class as a segue from Cheers World Show into it becoming a full-blown qualifying class.
Either one of you guys have anything else to add on that?
No, I think Karen and Justin, they hit the high points of the process, and we like to make sure that there's enough interest in the committees as well. I'm sure too, before implementing to a full-blown World Show class, because it's special, right? You need the World Show to be. It's a momentous event for those who win, and you want to make sure to keep the integrity and the specialness of winning the World Show.
I think that's a great point in what the globe it represents, and it's turned into a hashtag for the association of Get That Globe, and wanting to make sure that we as an association protect that, knowing that there is interest in new classes, and we should have a process to gauge that interest and then turn that into a World Show class, provided it is in fact there. So I think protecting the globe and what being an AQHA World Champion means is something that Karen, Allison, myself, and all our staff and committees really take seriously. And I think the association has done a good job of that over the years. And that AQHA World title still meaning something and wanting to honor that.
For sure. I know I've said it in a different podcast that it seems like the globes are everybody's most coveted prize and often the most elusive prize for everybody too. But that goes a long way to say something for how coveted you guys have kept it. So that's really cool. Liz, did you have any questions for them on these shows yet?
I just, as a personal question almost, because I've worked horse shows for 10 years, how do you, when you're 30 days in, how are you keeping your sanity at that point? Like, do you have a way of like decompressing, or what is your way of, kind of stepping back a little bit so you're not so like in the moment all the time? Is there anything special that you guys do to kind of just keep everything in check?
Yes. Italian subs at the sweet shop.
Those are pretty good.
And we have a saying that we keep the crazy in the family. So we very much have a level of trust with each other, and we can vent and lean on each other when the days get long, and we are there for 30 days. So I would say having that support system of Karen and Allison are a big part of what keeps me sane, and knowing, stepping back even from that, remembering what the World Show means and how much time, effort, energy, and resource those that are there have put into earning a spot to be competing at the World Show, and keeping that in perspective. And yes, it may be day 24 for us, but that could very well be that exhibitor's first or second day at the event. So remaining fresh and keeping a smile on our face to know that each exhibitor there, beginning, middle, end, needs to have the best experience possible. So I would say when we get in and get tired, we remind ourselves of that and delivering that top experience start to finish.
Yeah. One of my favorite things is, it may sound cliche, but it's really true, is watching people win and get their globe and seeing the emotion and feeling the emotion and the excitement in the arena. It's kind of a refreshing reminder throughout the day to kind of keep everybody going when you get to watch people win, and some of which maybe your friends and colleagues and stuff, watching them win and get their globe and looking at the tears and just the excitement of the people is always a fun, uplifting thing to kind of keep you going through the show.
Well, it is. And I think also for the three of us, I think I can speak for the other two in saying that the rest of the staff at this show, we have the internal AQHA staff that does so much for us in so many pieces of the show. And then there's also the hired staff, the ring stewards, the show office, the ring crew. There are so many pieces, and those people, seeing their commitment and how dedicated they are to being successful at their pieces of it. Those ring stewards work so hard, the judge's experience as good as possible so the judge can stay focused on the job at hand and be the best possible judge of that day. The office staff has put in countless hours before the show, during the show, and they just want to give a top-notch experience to the members and the exhibitors. And I think for the three of us, when we know how dedicated everyone else at that event is, that it's possible to keep, and with enough of the right food at the right time, we can serve that 30-day experience.
Perfect. Yeah, that I always love watching videos of everyone taking their globe, or even at the championship shows, they're just coming out and tears streaming and the live stream going. You can feel that through your computer screen or your phone screen just as much as being there. So I could see that being super refreshing to keep you guys going.
For sure. There's also lots of caffeine involved too. I would be flying and maybe candy, but we won't talk about all of that either.
I don't think it's humanly possible to go through 30 days of a horse show without caffeine and extra sugar, and also feeling like a zombie at some point. It's just part of it. Part of it.
But it's all worth it for the exhibitors and stuff. It really is fun.
Is there anything else you guys would like people to know, or maybe not know, but appreciate more about show management staff? And other than, of course, we all know how hard you guys work, but is there one thing that you wish people could understand or see from your perspective?
I would say it's all three of us have competed and compete ourselves and own horses, love horses. I think that those that on the production side of the event have been there and understand where they're coming from and truly want the best possible experience for them. We want them to have their special moment in the World Show arena as they ride through the Gateway of Champions and are announced. And we want all those butterflies for the countdown from 15th down to 1st. So I think knowing that the AQHA staff is made up of individuals that have and do still compete, I think if I would want to get that message out, it would be just that we're one of you. We compete. We love horses ourselves. We know what those butterflies feel like and want to recreate that at each possible juncture that we can, so that there is that AQHA World Show experience feeling and all that entails, because we felt it ourselves, and we want to protect that and ensure that others are getting to experience it as well. So I would say that would be my message.
And Jenna, you touched on this a little bit earlier, but with the whole, it takes a village, and that is so true, especially with championship shows. There's so many people, like Justin mentioned, with the committees and show council and the executive committee and staff, both AQHA staff and external staff. Everyone plays their role to create the championship show experience. And it truly doesn't happen without everybody doing their part. And so thank you to all of those that are involved in the championship show experience and process. And it really is what helps make the show successful now and then looking forward to the future years too.
Yeah, well said, both of you. And I think one other group I'd like to give a shout out to, because they're dedicated, and by the end of the event, they're running on fumes, and that's our AQHA professional horsemen. We put on anywhere from 8 to 15 ride the pattern clinics in the midst of the World Championship Show, and those are set up to give education and help exhibitors before they actually compete. Our horsemen have been offering, the last couple of years, they've been offering class commentary in some of the finals classes, which have been really fun on the live feed and offer a lot of extra insight and areas of interest for people at the live feed who aren't able to attend the show. And of course, all of those professionals who are volunteering their time for the horseman programs that happen during the World Show also have a full load of clients and horses that they're showing, and they're prepping, and they're training for the event. So I want to make sure I give a shout out to that crew too, because they're certainly instrumental in the feel and the success of these events.
Yeah, it's really cool. I think I didn't realize they did some of the live feed commentary in the finals, so I'm going to look for that this year. I'd really like to check that out myself.
Oh, please do. That's been a fun addition the last several years. And we've just tried to get experts in the industry and pair them up with one of the Professional Horseman Council members. And it's made the classes really interesting to listen to and to watch at home. And certainly the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive for that addition to the show.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really, really cool thing, I think. So. Well, we did have this interview pre-scheduled, and we just happened to coincidentally luck out a little bit on the timing of it all. But this past week, AQHA did release a statement about doing some further testing at the AQHA the upcoming World Show. And I think it's officially termed the Performance Alteration Testing. Not going to do a whole podcast, obviously, about it yet by any means. But do you guys want to kind of tell us a little bit more about that, what people can expect at the World Show? And I know the AQHA Welfare Committee has been working diligently, always trying to improve the industry and the welfare of quarter horses out there. So what is this new testing going to be like?
If I could give some history first, the first few pages of the rule book outline the mission statement of the association. And at the top of that is the welfare of the American quarter horse. So that is at the forefront of what this association stands for and our mission statement itself. So it was 10 years ago, the executive committee formed the Animal Welfare Commission to add even more focus onto the welfare of the horse. And there have been a number of initiatives from that commission throughout the years to enhance the association's protection of the horse itself. And this is another step, another enhancement in what the Animal Welfare Commission's mission is, and ultimately the welfare of the horse. So AQHA has been an industry leader in protecting the horse. We have some of the most, if not the most stringent testing procedures out in the equine industry. And this is meant to take that a step further and to ensure that horses are being treated humanely and that the competition itself is fair. So this is an initiative that has been in the works by the Welfare Commission. We've engaged some industry-leading experts in the field. Dr. Tracy Turner, for example, has been a part of this initiative, and the association collecting data and preparing itself with support from some other industry-leading veterinarians to roll out this new testing at the World Championship Show. I mean, that is our pinnacle event. That is the event that AQHA, that is our Super Bowl. So we are wanting to, starting at that level, ensure that the world champion horse and horses competing at the World Championship Show have been treated humanely, have been treated with dignity and respect, and that the exhibitors have confidence when they compete there that they're competing on a level playing field. So this is meant to address all of those factors. It is a start and an important topic in performance alteration that the association, the commission, the executive committee, and really all of us as AQHA members, I know believe in. We, at the core of what we do, is the love for the horse. And in any industry, you will unfortunately have those that do want to cheat the system. And this is meant to call them out and to let those know that the vast majority of our membership is not going to stand for that. So this is a way for us to carry out and to meet our mission statement and to make sure that we're keeping up with trends within the industry and making it clear and taking a stance as an association that performance alteration is not acceptable. It's not going to be tolerated at any of our events, and most certainly not tolerated at the Pinnacle World Championship Show.
Can you speak to how quickly this testing came about? I give AQHA kudos because it does seem like they took a very aggressive stance in making changes and implementing this type of testing in a short term. And maybe you guys have been working on it for far longer than what we even realize. But has it been something that kind of just quickly came about this year, or have you looked at it prior to this year? Just speak to that.
One of the neat facets of the Animal Welfare Commission, it's made up of pro horsemen that are boots on the ground, that are competing themselves, that are in the barns, that are interacting with exhibitors, competing against others, that have interactions with veterinarians, that really understand what the current concerns are out in the industry. So individuals that represent that side of the industry and the showing and the pro horsemen had brought that to the Animal Welfare Commission's attention, that this is an area of concern. Our purpose in being here is to protect the horse. We have this area of concern. And then AQHA goes through the proper protocol of making sure that we've connected with experts in the industry and Dr. Turner and other veterinarians, so that we're addressing this from a very scientific, thoughtful approach. And that vets its way through the commission, goes to show council, is vetted all the way through the executive committee, and then rolled out here for the World Show. So they're backing up that this is a very thoughtful process, and one that we rely on, in this case, our professional horsemen to bring to the Animal Welfare Commission. And then that group of incredible people of veterinarians, every facet of the quarter horse industry, racing, showing, ranching, veterinarians, pro horsemen, and the list goes on, of professionals then vet they vet the concern and put together a plan then that ultimately turns into what was announced last week, and with the enhanced performance alteration procedures happening at the World Show. A lot of thought, a lot of great minds go into a change like that. Ultimately, again, to circle back to protecting the horse and ensuring the most fair competition possible.
Yeah. Has there been any other talk with any of the other breed associations out there in SBA? Have they shared any of this, or right now is it just been limited exclusively to AQHA? I don't even know if you can speak to that or not, but.
Another neat facet of the Animal Welfare Commission is that it has representation from many other organizations, affiliate and alliance partners that participate on that panel. AQHA is taking the lead on this and is the first, to my knowledge, to test in this area. However, those other alliance and affiliate partners have been part of the conversation. And that's something I'm proud to be a member of our organization, and it taking the first step. And I would hope that encourages others to do the same.
Definitely. I hope we see more widespread application of this across the different breeds and associations. So if I understand everything correctly, this is really going to be the additional testing will be limited mostly to finalists and certain designated classes. Is that correct?
You're correct in that. And the Animal Welfare Commission identified a group of classes. That list is not publicized. However, they to meet the logistical demands of testing finalists, 15 a class, there had to be a logical decision made on how many classes can we test with the available resources that we have. So we've had quite a bit of support from the industry in that regard. And this is a starting point. This is certainly not the end goal, but this is a starting point in addressing a concern that our pro horsemen brought forward. So you are correct in that finalists will be tested, and then those that do well in the finals and ultimately are brought back as world champion for additional testing, as well as randomly selected horses in the finals, as we always have, will have additional performance enhancing testing done.
And with that, I assume there are also additional expenses that AQHA has had to incur and address how, the funding is going to get covered for this. So I know that was probably a big hurdle for you guys to get done, especially in time for this year's World Show too. So there's a lot that goes into getting this done. So proud of AQHA for taking that stand and getting it done so quickly.
Funding's always a challenge in any initiative that we as an association do. We have had some members step up and help underwrite the cost of this. So there are very much a group of caring members that want to see the horse treated well and have helped underwrite some of the costs for this program. So we're certainly thankful for that. Again, as an association made up of members, these are members stepping forward and helping do their part and ultimately protect the horse.
Yeah, that's really, really cool to hear. Liz, did you have any questions on this stuff?
No, I think Justin has done an excellent job. I think our listeners will definitely get some insight into everything that's going on for, next month. And I'm proud to be a member of AQHA taking a stand on this. It's very impressive.
Yeah. Last question for you guys. As we start to wrap up is we know the current economic climate can be kind of controversial or never know where it's going exactly, but didn't know if you had any insight or opinions, not necessarily even speaking on behalf of AQHA, but maybe just personally on where we see horses and horse shows and being impacted going into 2023. What you guys are expecting, planning for, just going to wait and see what happens, kind of, where you all at with that?
Cautiously optimistic. And the reasons that people are concerned, but I think there's a lot of indicators. Recent sales have stayed strong. Some of these production sales that we're seeing in our ranching industry, the horses are selling well and continuing, and I think that's a great sign. I think with the leadership of the association and its staff, as long as the American Quarter Horse Association, as long as we're willing and able to stay nimble and adjust as needed, these new opportunities as they're presented, I think there's a lot of hope that things are going to turn out well and continue. We have areas of growth. We've got our roping, we're ranching. Those classes just continue to build. The barrel racing industry is strong. And as we partner and collaborate on those ends, then all those indicators are that will be continuing. I think we keep working to build the traditional show classes, the all-around classes, the halter classes. And again, as I started out, I'm cautiously optimistic that we will get through this.
I would add to that. I've spent the last week at the Quarter Horse Congress, and I'm reminded of what a great atmosphere in AQHA Horse Show offers a family. We've had I had a 2-year-old come by the AQHA booth this morning and just starry-eyed and loving their AQHA sunglasses that they got, all the way up to a grandma or grandpa supporting a small fry. And it just reminded me of what a sanctuary the horse show industry is from all the troubles out in the world. It's almost a place where you can go and feel safe and let down, and you're around other individuals that love horses. And I've seen that here. We'll see it again in a couple of weeks at the World Show. And I think that stands out to me more than anything. And the horse shows and horse show industry is really a sanctuary from the troubles that are out in the world, a place where you can, again, feel safe and let down.
Yeah, that's very well said. Allison, do you have any additional thoughts to add to any of this?
No, I really agree with what Justin and Karen have said there. As a showing member myself, I know that our barn is at least still planning to hit the road as much as we can. And so I'm hopeful that everyone, like Justin said, your horse show family. You go there to get away from all the rest of the crazy in the world. And so my hope is that, people will still continue to be able to go. And of course, as Karen mentioned, I think we all just need to keep our pulse on things and stay nimble and, make adjustments as needed. But I think everything is hopefully going to continue forward.
Very good. Liz, any last questions?
No, I was just going to kind of compound on what you guys felt like the level ones went last year. I know with COVID happening, we kind of went away from having those level one championships. Do you think that they went well last year? And do you foresee them perhaps even growing for 2023? Or what's your feelings on that?
Yeah, level one East was busting at the seams. It was huge.
It was huge.
Justin, sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, you're fine.
Over Justin.
You were saying what I was thinking. We could not have fit any more horses into the World Equestrian Center than we did. So in the 2 years of COVID, yes, we did combine the shows so that we could still have them. So the level ones were at their respective world shows. But what we missed out in doing that is reaching folks closer to home. And then also our rookie and our walk trot classes that we just quite frankly couldn't fit into the world show schedules. So it was nice to reach a more regional group and offer those classes again that we couldn't during the years of COVID. So that they both East and West grew when they were separated back out as standalone events. So I think I'm hoping we struck the right mix with the Champion of Champions and bridging that gap from standalone level ones like we have now, that we didn't have during COVID, bridging that gap from those standalone events to the World Championships and bringing those top 15 exhibitors to compete at their respective world show. And what we see a lot is they'll try a level 2 class, for example. So we're hoping to get the best of both worlds in that we have our standalone events with full schedules, and then we also have a level 1 presence with the L1 Champion of Champions.
That'll be interesting for sure.
It's really fun though. I would encourage everybody to go to the level ones if you've never been, either to participate or just to watch. It is such a fun group of exhibitors. The atmosphere is really fun, competitive still, but it's a little bit different of an atmosphere sometimes in the world show competition, and so the people are awesome at the level ones. And so they're such a critical part of the industry. And so level ones, they're near and dear to my heart. I love them as a level 1 competitor.
Oh, indeed. If you ever need a reminder of why we do what we do, the level 1 championships are the perfect example. There were many new exhibitors at East. I believe it was well over 50% and close to that at West. I want to add the West Level 1 Championship this year, as Allison mentioned earlier, we partnered with Arizona Quarter Horse, and they were very strong partners, and they ran that event well and in a little bit different format, but still trying to keep the AQHA Championship Show feel. That show went really well and brought in a lot of first time to AQHA exhibitors. And of course, that was the original intent of those shows, is to draw people in and let them know who we are, what we do, and why it's great to hang out with us and compete at AQHA shows.
Yeah, if we lose those newer novice competitors or exhibitors in our industry, then our whole industry is going to suffer big time. And it already has to some extent. So I really like hearing everything you guys are doing for the level ones and supporting the shows and how good the atmosphere is at those shows.
Yes, those are staff favorites. If you haven't picked up on that, the staff really enjoys and loves going to the L1s. So they are favorites in the building.
That's all I had today, other than like for you guys to all share that if somebody wanted to get a hold of you or talk to you about something, where can they find you, or what's the best avenue to get a hold of you? And then we'll let you go on your day today.
Well, I think I can speak for the three of us. We'll be out and about in Oklahoma City for 30 days. So in person at the World Show is the perfect place to catch one of the three of us and say hi or chat or whatever. We're certainly there to help answer any questions or help with any problems at the World Show. And then I personally, if you ever need me, you can email me at abowen@aqha.org. Or the World Show is worldshow@aqha.org is also another great place to share World Show feedback. And that goes to our championship show team.
Yes, I echo what Allison said. Anyone wants to find us at the World Show, we will be there front and center. We love to hear input, feedback. If there are issues, we want to know about them so we can work right away towards correcting them. And obviously, it's fun to hear if people think things are going well. We certainly wouldn't turn that conversation down either. I can be reached,
you don't mind positive feedback.
Exactly. We will definitely be receptive to that. But no, we do. You know, some people, most people just want to put their heads down and get through, and they might not think their problem is big enough to bring to one of the three of us. But we want to reassure people that we can't fix it if we don't know there's an issue. And so please don't hesitate. Let us know. Let us see what we can do to address it. And if we can't do it ourselves, we certainly know steps to take, or we hope we know the steps to take to rectify a situation. So don't keep us in the dark. Let us know good and bad. I can be reached at question@aqha.org. And I don't know if you can put in the show notes how to spell McQuestion, or if you want me to try to do that right now.
We'll get it in the notes.
Excellent point, sir. I would say we want to greet you with a smile, and we want to make sure that you leave the World Show with a smile. So if there are things that we can do as an AQHA staff to make your experience better, please let us know. That is our ultimate goal. We want you to enjoy your time with your horse and have a special experience. So that is what this team and so many others that support the show are working towards accomplishing. And same as the others, you can reach me in person. I'm a bit old school. I think technology is fantastic, but I most definitely prefer an in-person conversation. So if I can shake your hand and visit with you in person, I would love that opportunity. If we don't have that opportunity, I'm available via email, jbillings@aqha.org, and would encourage you to reach out in any form or fashion, and hope that we get a meet in Oklahoma City.
Awesome. Well, we will get all that information in the show notes for everybody. And I want to thank you, all three of you, for taking the time today to give us a glimpse into the upcoming show, since we're getting very, very close now. So good luck to everybody in Oklahoma City and the show management team too. So you guys, you need some luck on your side, probably just as much as the exhibitors. But yeah, we appreciate you guys.
Thanks, y'all. Good luck to everybody competing at the World Show.
Thank you, Jen and Liz. To listeners out there, we hope to see you at the World Show, and good luck to all of you.
Yes, it was an honor being here. Thank you for the opportunity. See you in OKC.
All right, that'll be your class. Bring them in and line them up.